And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. The opposition senatorial slate has begun their campaign trail on the streets of Caloocan City to reach out to the public and to know the issues which they want the future leaders to address. They decided to do away with the traditional method of campaigning and conventional speeches. The group chose Caloocan City because it has recorded the highest number of victims of extrajudicial killings. They claim that the opposition coalition in the 2019 election will be the referendum of the Duterte administration.
Ang taong bayan po, ang mga volunteers natin, ang mga pinapakinggan nating taong bayan, sila po yung nauuna. Hindi po ang kandidato ang nauuna.
There have been so many victims of EJ case in the Camanaba area. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang patayan.
Meanwhile, the senatorial candidates of the Hugpong ng Pagbabago coalition, a regional political party founded by presidential daughter and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio, held their campaign kick-off rally in San Fernando, Pampanga. The coalition endorses 13 names for the senatorial race, though only 12 spots are open in the Senate. Mayor Duterte Carpio says she is confident of the track records and contributions of their senatorial candidates to national progress despite the pressure and strength of the rival candidates.
Naniniwala naman sila lahat sa gustong mangyari. Nating lahat na positive change, no? And nakikita nila yon sa sinusubukan na gawin ni President Duterte.
The Commission on Elections has reminded candidates to observe proper campaign rules to avoid committing an election offense as the official campaign period kicks off today. COMELEC spokesperson Director James Jimenez emphasized that the poll body will strictly be monitoring campaign ads on television, radio, print, and even on social media. Jimenez reminded candidates to be careful in gracing requests for appearance as they might fall into political advertising, which can be counted against them. But Jimenez clarified that interviews for news purposes are not considered campaigning. Under the Fair Elections Act, candidates and registered political parties running for national elective positions are given not more than a total of 120 minutes of television advertising and 180 minutes of radio advertising, while candidates for local elective positions are given 60 minutes for TV advertising and 90 minutes of radio advertising.
Problema, nagagamit yung mga interviews, mga guesting para kunwari hindi siya ad, kunwari interview nga siya or guest spot siya. So there are cases na pwedeng ituring na parang advertising din yon, no? Pangkaraniwan, ang pinaka-broad na generalization natin dito is that it's non-news.
Prior to the start of official campaign, the poll body reminded all national candidates to take down campaign materials, especially those posted in unauthorized locations or non-common poster areas. The COMELEC also urged the public to report any illegal campaign posting by sending an email attached with photos together with the date and specific location via talktocomelec@gmail.com using the hashtag Sumbong sa COMELEC.
Over the next few days, magtutuloy-tuloy yung proseso na yan hanggang sa makapag-file tayo ng mga complaint laban sa mga violators. Kaya nga pinapaalalahanan natin, ngayon pa lang baklasin nyo na.
In other news, the Philippine National Police is seriously considering making adjustments in the deployment of its police units for the 2019 midterm elections following the release of its list of election hotspots. According to PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde, there are 701 areas deemed as election hotspots in the country. 223 of these numbers were placed under yellow category due to intense political rivalry or history of election-related incidents in the previous elections. 382 were identified as areas of immediate concern due to serious armed threat or presence of rebels, while 94 were considered as areas of grave concern for exhibiting factors of the first two categories.
With the changes in the hotspots, now we will have to probably check on the deployment of our personnel. Dahil dito dumami, then we have to realign our personnel also with this data and with this decision by the COMELEC. Then we have to realign our deployment also dito.
Aside from adjusting deployments, the PNP will also implement plans to ensure the peaceful and orderly conduct of midterm polls. These include a strict implementation of gun ban, intensified focused law enforcement operations, and dismantling of private armed groups. In other news, the Department of Health identifies the one common thing between the areas in the country that reported high cases of measles infection. According to Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, the places that are battling a spike in measles cases were the regions that implemented the immunization of controversial anti-dengue vaccine, Dengvaxia. Duque and other medical experts have asserted that the fear stoked by the Dengvaxia mess aggravated the country's low immunization response rates and led to ensuing outbreak. Last week, the DOH expanded its declaration of measles outbreak from Metro Manila to other areas in Luzon and Visayas, following an increasing trend since January 2019. Authorities are investigating the whereabouts of other Abu Sayyaf group members allegedly roaming around Metro Manila following the arrest of a man said to be responsible for the bombing of a bus terminal in Kitabawan City in 2002. Police have finally arrested on Sunday one of ASG's most wanted members, identified as Abdurrahman Dayung alias Binsar Salabuddin, and Abu Talha in Ermita, Manila, where he was working as a welder. Police say Dayung was behind the Kidapawan bombing that left 7 people dead, as well as the abduction of 15 plantation workers in 2001. Authorities, however, noted that the arrests of ASG members in Metro Manila are no reasons for concern.
Na-monitor natin na umiikot pupunta sa ibang mga kasamahan niya dito. Ang pagkakahuli natin sa kanya ay offshoot nung ating arrest ng isang kasamahan niya last December before translasyon. Ang Abu Sayyaf kasi, meron kasi ng mga inactive, merong active, di ba? At merong iba naman, sympathizer supporters. In the case of dun sa na-arresto natin, right now, dinidetermine natin kung siya ba ay active member. Kasi ang base naman ng arrest natin sa kanya is yung warrant of arrest niya for the case that has happened long time ago.
Changing the name of the Philippines will require a change in the Constitution. This was noted by Malacanang when the issue on renaming the Philippines resurfaced after President Rodrigo Duterte hinted that he is amenable to using Maharlika as the country's new name in the future. During his speech in Maguindanao on Monday, President Duterte expressed his agreement to the late President Ferdinand Marcos's proposal of changing the country's name to Maharlika as it better suits the Filipinos' native roots. In the 16th century, the Philippines was named as Las Islas Filipinas by Spanish explorer Ruy Lopez de Villalobos in honor of Spanish King Philip II of Spain when the country was still a Spanish colony. It officially became the Republic of the Philippines in 1946 when the United States of America relinquished its sovereignty over the Philippine Islands. There had been many attempts to change the name of the Philippines in previous Congresses, including the one filed by former Senator Eddie Elarde in 1978, but not a single legislation prospered. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panero clarified, however, that though the president was just aiming at opening a discussion on the matter, the proposal would need a charter change.
Pero siguro mas preferred siguro pag constitutional amendment para wala nang question.
And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, William. U.S. lawmakers have found a way to avoid another partial government shutdown over President Donald Trump's proposal to build a border wall. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
U.S. congressional negotiators said late on Monday they had reached a tentative deal on border security funding that would avert another partial government shutdown. Republican Senator Richard Shelby said that they have reached an agreement in principle on funding border security programs through September 30th.
We've had a good evening. We reached an agreement in principle between us on the Homeland Security and the other 6 bills. Our staffs are going to be working feverishly to put all the particulars together.
Shelby did not say whether President Donald Trump would get any money for a U.S.-Mexico border wall. As if Trump had signed off on the pact, Shelby said the negotiators talked periodically with White House representatives. Although he did not say if Trump had endorsed the outline, he added he thought and hoped the president could support the deal. Speaking late on Monday, President Trump did not say whether he would back the deal. He told supporters in El Paso, Texas, that he had no time to study the agreement, but stressed that he would never sign a bill that forces the mass release of violent criminals.
So we probably have some good news, but who knows? Who knows? Well, we're setting the stage, folks. You know what it's called, right? It's called we're setting the stage. We're setting the table. We're doing whatever we have to do. The wall's being built. It'll continue.
A bill must be approved by Friday when funding runs out for some federal agencies. The previous shutdown, the longest in U.S. history, lasted 35 days. The shutdown's cost to the U.S. economy was estimated at $11 billion. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Venezuela's opposition leader Juan Guaido delivers first cargo of humanitarian aid as embattled President Nicolas Maduro presents his government's strategy to consolidate the country's identity. Sonny Cos tells us why.
Venezuela's opposition team said on Monday they had delivered a first cargo of humanitarian aid that has become a flashpoint in the tussle with President Nicolas Maduro. Opposition leader Juan Guaido tweeted a photo of himself surrounded by stacks of white pots of vitamin and nutritional supplements. He did not say from where or whom they came.
Today, we delivered the first donation, or the first cargo of humanitarian aid. I'll bet on a small scale, because you know, they have blocked the border for the time being.
Venezuela's opposition has been coordinating an effort by Western nations, companies, and organizations to deliver aid to Venezuela, while malnutrition and preventable disease have proliferated in recent years as the economy nosedived. Nicolas Maduro has said this is a part of U.S. orchestrated strategy to undermine and ultimately overthrow him. He says he will not allow this show. Maduro on Monday launched a government program to consolidate Venezuela's identity, aiming to improve exports under the slogan, Venezuela Open to the Future. It aims to enhance the tourist, commercial, economic, and advertising activities of the country.
Venezuela needs more than ever a diversified economy that sees the production of quality and in the placement of those quality products in the world, new sources of income for the national wealth. I am sure that strategy country brand will allow to articulate more effectively with greater efficiency and more punctually all the export effort to convert our exporting country of national productive diversity. I am sure that it will be like that.
The United States last month recognized Guaido as Venezuela's legitimate leader after he declared himself president. Guaido argued Maduro's re-election last year was a sham. The United States has been since joined by a majority of Western nations. Sonicos, UNTV News and Rescue.
U.S. Border Patrol rescues a migrant family trying to swim in a river that borders Mexico and the United States. Meanwhile, Indonesian police vow to take disciplinary action against officers who used an unorthodox method during an interrogation session. This report tells us why. In Mexico, a Salvadoran family was rescued from the Rio Grande border river between Mexico and the United States late on Sunday night before they were returned back south of the border. According to reports, the family of 7 included 2 babies and 2 minors. They unsuccessfully tried to swim across the Rio Grande from Piedras Negras, Mexico, before they were rescued and attended to by medics south of the border. Security has been tight on this stretch of the border, with Border Patrol agents making their presence known as some 2,000 Central American migrants wait to process paperwork at a temporary migrant shelter on the Mexican side of the border. In South Africa, A newborn baby girl was rescued from a stormwater drain in South Africa on Monday after being stuck for several hours. Emergency services were called after neighbors heard the infant cries coming from the drain, and rescuers spent 3 hours attempting to reach the girl before pulling her out safely. The baby was subsequently airlifted to a hospital to be treated and then taken to another unnamed facility. She escaped with only a mild case of hypothermia and a few minor abrasions. And in Indonesia, Indonesian police apologized and pledged on Friday to take disciplinary action after officers draped a live snake around the neck of a suspect to persuade him to confess during an interrogation session. The video shows a man being questioned about stolen mobile phones, yelling in distress as a snake is pushed towards his face by an officer. During the interrogation, a voice can be heard ordering the man to open his eyes, and at one point threatened to put the snake into his mouth and under his trousers. The incident happened on January 15. Papuan police spokesman said the case was being investigated by the Internal Affairs Unit. The Jayawijaya police chief also issued an apology. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue. And those are the news from around the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Kat Dumaraos, reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. Tennis star Stan Wawrinka reaches Rotterdam's second round after breaking his opponent in the opening round of the ABN AMRO World Tennis Tournament. Meanwhile, Arsenal midfielder Aaron Ramsey is planning to leave the club after playing for 11 seasons. Vincent Arboleda tells us why.
Three-time Grand Slam champion Stan Wawrinka recovered from a sluggish start to beat Frenchman Benoit Paire 7-6, 6-1 in the opening round of the ABN AMRO World Tennis Tournament in Rotterdam on Monday. Wawrinka, who is chasing his first title since undergoing 2 knee surgeries in 2017, lost just one more game at the start of the second set as he broke his opponent 3 consecutive times en route to victory. The winner of Tuesday's clash between 4th-seeded Canadian Milos Raonic and German Philipp Kohlschreiber awaits 68th-ranked Wawrinka in the second round. Refugee footballer Hakim Al-Raibi has returned home to Australia after 2 months of detention in Thailand. The Bahraini citizen was detained in Bangkok in November while on honeymoon at the request of Bahrain authorities. Following international outcry and diplomatic pressure, the Arab Kingdom ended its extradition attempt on Monday. Arsenal midfielder Aaron Ramsey is leaving the club after 11 seasons to join Juventus, the Serie A club said on Monday, as he confirmed the Welshman had signed a 4-year contract. The 28-year-old will join the Turin side in July and become the 3rd Welshman to play for them after John Charles, who played for them from 1957 to 1962, and Ian Rush. Ramsey has made 256 Premier League appearances since joining Arsenal from Cardiff City in 2008, but he failed to agree on a new deal with the London club in the final year of his contract. The impasse enabled him to negotiate a pre-contract agreement with foreign clubs since January 1. Ramsey will earn over £400,000 or $514,040 a week at Juventus, making him the highest earning British player ever based on basic salary. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue.
Fans of international hit series Game of Thrones now have the opportunity to get a feel for what sleeping in the Arctic cold is like, surrounded by the army of the dead, dragons, and dire wolves from the fictional kingdom of Westeros. Abby Valdez tells us why.
Some 200 kilometers above the Arctic Circle, the Snow Village Lapland Hotel has for a second year built an ice hotel from scratch based on HBO's international hit series Game of Thrones. Spectacular images reveal a life-size Iron Throne complete with swords, a spooky Braavosi Hall of Faces, and looming above one bed in a snow suite, a glowing blue-eyed White Walker emerging from the ice. That should help you sleep well then. In the rooms, you'll also find high-quality thermal sleeping bags and fleece lining bags to keep you warm. Visitors can enjoy a 3-course dinner at Frozen Winterfell, have a drink from an ice glass, or meet the giant Magda Mighty, then take time to explore the Dragon Ice Slide and the icy hallways. 12 artists from Latvia, Lithuania, Russia, Poland, Finland, and the Ukraine have used 400,000 kilos of ice to make the structure. To make sure the hotel doesn't literally melt around you, things are kept at a toasty -2 to -5 degrees Celsius, so it's probably best to pack your thermals and limit your stay to only a night. Abby Valdez, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news, February 12, 2019. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo, Castro III, I am Thio, because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.